So, in November of 2013, Experience Life started a series called One Less Orphan. We learned of the crisis that is affecting our community.
In Region 1, which is Panhandle, basically, in Texas, this is Lubbock and Amarillo and the surrounding towns. We said that 1,622 kids were in foster care just in our region. 1,622, and that 338 of those were waiting for adoption. 338 waiting for a family to say, I choose you.
This series made a large impact on those who heard the message, and many hearts were stirred. All were challenged to action.
We're not all called to do the same thing, but we're all called to do something.
Well, since then, a lot has happened. Many Eli families accepted the challenge, and as a result, even more lives were forever changed. Here are a few of those stories.
It was not really something that we had ever really considered. We actually found out that some friends of ours were doing it not long before we were, and I said to Caleb, that sounds like a horrible idea. Why would anyone want to do that? That just sounds really hard. Like, why would you put yourself through that? And then not long after that, I remember just feeling like a stirring in my heart and felt like something, like God was asking something of me, but I didn't know what it was. So came to the place where I just kind of surrendered to whatever it was that God was asking. And then in November, Eli started the One Less Orphan series.
The waterworks came on for Haley, and my heart was broken for sure. And so we decided that's definitely our next step. Like that's what can fill this void that we're feeling. We got plugged in with an agency and started going through the classes, and everything's going great. We finish up, get certified, and then there's this time where they start sending you kids and they start sending you profiles. There was this one little girl. We submitted on it, became a finalist, and got the chance to go down and meet her.
And so we met her in September. And got to spend a weekend with her, and it was just amazing. I mean, just this precious little girl with a huge smile. And had to leave her there in Houston. And a month later, they brought her to us. We finalized her adoption in June of 2015. If you're interested in being involved in the lives of kids in foster care, but not really ready to take the jump into being a foster family, there's a lot of ways that you can support foster families. Eli hosts some events for foster and adoptive families that you could volunteer for. We have always loved going to those events because we see other families that look like ours, and that might not seem like a big deal, but it is. So we've enjoyed that too. We felt so supported by Eli. There's been times that we've just opened our mailbox and had a gift card and a card just saying, like, we appreciate you, and I don't think I was gonna cry about that. Saying we appreciate you and we see you, and that was, we felt really loved.
You know, I think before Greg and I even met, adoption has always been on our hearts. We always wanted to either adopt internationally, locally, whatever. And we knew that, our plan was we would have a couple of biological kids, and then we would pursue adoption. But the Lord had different plans for us. Back in, I think it was 2014, Eli did the One Less Orphan series, and probably the most important thing that they were able to do for us is give us tangible things that we could do. There's a piece of paper that said, here's your next step, here's the number to call. There were a lot of different organizations that were able to meet at the church, and we were able to go to a meeting and talk with people who worked for these organizations and get some information.
And I think the thing that our private adoption experience had in common, I think, with a lot of foster and adoptive experiences was just that we didn't get to have a lot of expectations. I think when we would have our heart set on one thing, something would come up and we would get moved in a totally different direction. So I think that it helped us, I guess, just be okay not knowing what was going to happen. It was really important for us, I think, just to have a group of people around us who understood what we were going through and who were supportive. You know, family and everybody and friends and coworkers were all very supportive when we decided that we wanted to go through this process. But it was a big deal having people in our lives who had actually gone through it before.
If anybody's afraid to take the next step in orphan care, I would just say find out what your next step is, because a lot of times the scariest part is that you don't know what to do. If you can just get some information about the process, maybe find out that some of the things you're afraid of aren't really that scary, then it'll make the process that much easier, because not everybody's called to do the same thing, but we're all called to do something, and we truly believe that.
So take just a second and think, wow, this is just a few of hundreds of stories that could be told. Now it's time for us to support those stories. Foster Life is a new eLife ministry for those who are on their journey of fostering or adopting. We would like to invite you to be involved. For more information, visit the Foster Life table in your campus lobby.